To our global CTKS family, we're grateful that you're here. All of us together make this one of the best communities on YouTube. Here, we use the world's leading indicator of price, the CTKS method, to give us X-ray vision across stocks, cryptos, forex, commodities, and yields. So we can see what the top 1% in financial markets see before the move happens. That's a license to print money and a way to stay safe. Whilst others are panicked, we are calm. When others guess, we stack probabilities. We don't fall for hype or stories, we profit from reality. We know making just 3.5% per week is a 498% profit per year. We are the elite 1% in financial markets. Price moves in waves, so no matter if price is going up or down, please be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be dedicated and committed, and never blame. Instead, learn and grow into the best version of yourself. Let's see what the markets are doing today. All eyes inside the market are on Nvidia at the current time. And inside the service, the elite service members get these parts. They're called CTKS parts. They may look like they're drawn to current price action, but that's not actually the case. They're drawn and estimated towards the end of month price. They're drawn here and never change, so price is printing along the normalized negative price path for Nvidia at the current time. Now, understanding this can make you an absolute fortune. If you're in Nvidia and you thought it was going positive and it's clearly going negative, it is not going positive. We must always embrace reality. Now, it does show some very important things down here. Nvidia had a lot of structure at this area around the 184. These price paths are actually drawn to CTKS structure, and we can see that they do a very good job of predicting where price will go. With news just in, Nvidia beats Q3 revenue estimates on record data center performance. This is really important. The entire market was hanging on a knife's edge. It was expecting if Nvidia couldn't deliver its breakthrough results, the market would sell down wildly. As an elite 1% member, what you're looking at is structure in action. Structure controls price. If you know the structure, you're ahead of 99% of other people who rely on stories. As a top 1% individual inside financial markets, you are top 1% because you do the cheat sheet daily. For example, we know that Nvidia is currently following the normalized negative price path. It's coming down. So on the monthly structural model, which is shared inside the service, you already know that Nvidia's price reality is negative, and it's been basing. Now, with the release of the Nvidia report, that is really good stuff. We should now see Nvidia make an upwards movement. But one thing to always be aware of, it's Nvidia's structure that determines where the monthly price path goes. Structure is formed through two levels of standard certification, level 1 and level 2, which forms the daily structural model. From understanding the structure inside the month, that's how we create the monthly structural model. And you can see that Nvidia's price was not going up, it was coming down, but it was caught by structure. This is the incredible power of the CTKS method. It's institutional grade. One of the biggest problems that you'll ever have is the idea of doubt and fear inside the market. Rule 293 is especially good for that. CTKS structure replaces doubt. We understand that we're not in a bull market, we're not in a bear market, we're just in a market called an eagle market. Price is always going up and down and up. And we just ride those waves. We don't need to ride every single wave. We need to be safe. In yesterday's video, we were looking at Bitcoin compared to the Aussie dollar, compared to the VIX and the VIX futures. And what I've just done is to invert the VIX and the VIX futures. Now, the VIX futures is this kind of salmon line and the VIX is this red line. The US markets are now closed. Now that means that the VIX proper stops trading, but the VIX futures will continue on. I very much like to use the Aussie dollar as a bit of a guidepost to where the markets could go, especially Bitcoin and also the stock market. As the top 1% inside financial markets, what we do is that we make sure that we fill out the cheat sheet, and it's available absolutely free of charge from the homepage. I just scrolled down there, and it's under your cheat sheet to mastering price action. You can get it absolutely free here. We are very specific on how we look at price action. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll find a lot of helpful videos and helpful insights on how to use the cheat sheet, as well as different trades that have been made. The cheat sheet is 7 rows. Row 1 and row 2 measure risk off and risk on sentiment. And I was observing risk off sentiment across row 1 and row 2 for quite some time. This is not a problem. This just means that you need to protect your account. Always remember, you do not have to have a daily target. Having a weekly target is good, but also remember, market permission is everything. If you don't get permission to make a profit from the market, just wait until you do. You do not need to ride every single wave of price, because if you do, you'll find that your account could get drowned. Now you can see up here inside row 1, that's the VIX. Inside row 2, that's the Aussie dollar. When we zoom out and look at Bitcoin with the inverted VIX and inverted VIX futures, we can see that there's a very clear association in terms of directional correlation. Now, what we're noticing at the current time, a lot of people have been looking at the markets and saying there is no reason for Bitcoin to come down. As top 1%, you already know that the VIX drives risk on and risk off behavior. And it's confirmed or denied by row 1 and row 2. The VIX is always strengthening and weakening. And when it strengthens, we need to be very careful because we can get some very nasty sell-offs. But when it weakens, we can get double-digit percentage gains. Now, the thing to remember, the VIX and the VIX futures stop trading. That's why we get these long, straight lines. That's literally, they close off here and they come back alive. Now, that's a bit of a problem for crypto because crypto is 24/7 by 365. But the VIX is really important. Please keep your eye on it. If you were looking at the VIX, you didn't get caught by October the 10th, and that was an incredibly nasty sell down. You would have sidestepped that one completely, as most of our community members actually did. And that's what makes you elite, because you're out of the market when most people are FOMOing and buying the dip. There's a difference between buying the dip as the VIX bases and buying the dip as the VIX tops. Everybody has their own focus on how to just take advantage of financial markets. But when the VIX is spiking up and it's got support underneath it, please be careful. There are massive opportunities inside financial markets, but only if you have the knowledge. During times like this where we've got negative volatility, it's very important that you sharpen your skills. The top 1% are always learning, always reinforcing their knowledge. For the Profiting Masterclass students, I just want to make sure that you're looking into week 2, especially lesson 2. That will save and make you literally millions of dollars. And also make sure that you look and revise through week 1. It is really important at the current time. The markets have incredible levels of opportunity, but only if you can read the markets correctly. Currently, in Bitcoin ETFs, there's $131.12 billion in total net assets. As the VIX has been spiking, we've seen an outflow inside the crypto market. This is normal. When the VIX spikes, people sell. But as an elite 1%, you're keeping your eye on the bargains. Now, a lot of people do not understand Bitcoin and they don't understand the new economic system, especially digital money. I'd just like to share something really quick with you. If you go into Google Books and you search for tools for solving the accounting and management crisis, intangible management, that was the book that I wrote literally 23 years ago to explain, and this book was written through Academic Press and Elsevier Science, which was the #1 academic publisher in the US at the time. This particular book is all about the failings of the conventional management and accounting system, especially financial systems that don't recognize knowledge, collaboration, process, and engagement. In other words, the entire system is set up to understand how a manufacturing entity works, but not a knowledge worker business. It's in this book that I developed the concept of intangible accounting, intangible bookkeeping, and a lot of other things, such as intangible management. In other words, most economists miss the big picture when it comes to just putting a financial valuation on an intangible. And I don't blame them at all. I was a former lecturer in economics at university, and I can say the principles of economics, they just don't align with intangibles. In fact, the very definition of an intangible, which is what Bitcoin is something that cannot be measured. And being the unreasonable person that I was, I invented the mathematics to value intangibles for the first time. And I'm not talking about intellectual property and goodwill. That's been valued for quite a while. I'm talking about the value of knowledge, the value of collaboration, people working together, the value of engagement and disengagement, intangible costs, all sorts of things. In other words, this is very much focused on the next level that we need to get to inside the economy. Now, why is this important? Because a lot of people say that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. If you're part of the Reserve Bank of Australia, you already said cryptocurrencies have no legislated or intrinsic value. They're simply worth what people are willing to pay for them in the market. This is not true. Sorry, Reserve Bank, you got it wrong. And what does the Brookings Institute say? The Brookings Institute is a highly reputable organization. It too says no intrinsic value. It's not backed by anything. And you can see there's a lot of things. Even Yahoo Finance is saying it. So why is $131.12 billion sitting in a spot Bitcoin ETF? The theory goes that because crypto is not a stock, and remember that the chairman and CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, is about to tokenize everything. Now, what have been the fees in the past 30 days across the crypto market? Well, just a mere $1.84 billion. Hang on a second. I thought it had no intrinsic value. What about the total value locked inside the crypto market? $505.01 billion. Well, surely there's not many people using crypto. No, not really. Only 27.05 million active users. You've got to be really careful with the AI and robotic revolution really underway right now. Intangibles are going to become very important to understand, and the crypto market is literally an intangible market. Therefore, the next time somebody reaches out and says crypto has no intrinsic value, just make sure that you give them this kind of knowledge. You'll find this in tokenterminal.com. The fact is, the value is different. So if we look at stablecoin issuers, they made fees of $7.9 billion in the last year. That's a lot of money. And Tether is actually one of the most profitable companies, private companies on the planet. Crypto will get integrated into all payment systems. That's why it doesn't matter what happens to crypto in the next year or 2 years, it is going to become the rail of global payments. Now, why am I talking about this? if you're getting thrown out because of all the negative price action, you must understand the fundamentals of this industry. It is here to stay. It will not disappear. But there is also something that you must be aware of. The alt season did happen, but not as people expected it. The alt season was an explosion in alts, not a concentration of funds inside a limited number of alts. There are 27.28 million crypto projects actually tracked by CoinMarketCap. That is a lot. And in the last 24 hours, 41,000 new cryptos were created. In the last 7 days, 250,000. And in the last 30 days, nearly 2 million cryptos. Every single crypto that is created has the same concept. I'm going to 100x your money. Now the problem is that with 27.28 million crypto projects, 100xing a person's money requires a lot of money to do so. Now when I'm talking about the crypto market is here to stay, I would suggest, as I do, and this is what I do not go outside the top 50 and never outside the top 100. Now why is that? Because the top 100 is the best chance you have at survival. All of these 27.28 million crypto projects, I believe that's what people are talking about when they say crypto has no value. But the top 100 do, absolutely. And if your project is outside the top 100, it could make it in there, but it's got very stiff competition. 27.28 million crypto projects want to be in the top 100. Therefore, if we get a very substantial sell down inside the market, inside the crypto market, what is going to survive? Well, Bitcoin will survive, ETH will survive, XRP, BNB will survive, Solana, Tron, Doge, ADA, Hype. And if we go down a bit further, you can see that the top 50, the top 100, there's a lot of really interesting projects in here. These projects you want to keep a really good eye on. Everything that can just bounce and everything that can do well in the next bull market. And also, we've got to just consider being inside an eagle market, the price is going up and down all the time. It could go flat as well. But so long as we've got movement from a down into an up and we know the structural levels, we can make money. That's why in yesterday's video, I talked about the eagle market. If you want to go outside the top 50 or the top 100, please be aware that it's really risky. Now the question is, why is it risky? If we look into Bitcoin here, this is at the top level. So you're just going to the highest level of liquidity. You can see that we've got around $13 million worth of buyers and around 20 million, 21 million versus sellers. Now, when we go to the lowest level, what are we seeing? Oh, maybe we just go one up to the 10-cent mark, because don't forget, Bitcoin is 90,552. So we're seeing 100,000, 200,000, 600,000, fairly good volume. Now, when we go into USDT, let's just pick this guy, TensorFlow. Now, what is TensorFlow doing? And when we look from the highest level of liquidity here, we've got about 252,000. Remember how many buyers were in Bitcoin? Compare that to how many buyers are in TensorFlow. And let's go the other way, 400,000. So this is very low liquidity. If you had $400,000 that you wanted to put in here, you would basically move this thing around. And that's liquidity that can move for you or against you. So if somebody wanted to come in here and sell $1 million worth of TensorFlow, they would crater this thing. But if they wanted to sell $1 million worth of Bitcoin, it wouldn't move an inch. Students of the Profiting Masterclass, if you go down into week 4 and you'll find inside lesson 14, you'll see liquidity versus position size. This is really important stuff to be aware of. Some particular trades are Hotel Californian trades. That means you can get in anytime you want, but you can never leave. Please let me know in the comments, have you ever engaged in one of those trades that was a one-way in and no way out? The further outside the top 100 you go, the greater the probability of a Hotel California trade. When looking at these levels, they are simply price increments, price steps, or decimal precision levels, and you can see this is the lowest and this is the highest. There's a lot of different ways to refer to this, but this is basically just a tick size. So we could call this highest level the standard tick, a fine tick, it's very fine, and an ultra fine tick. Now, when we go to the ultra fine tick level, what we're trying to understand is the liquidity that you could ostensibly put into the market. So if you had a standard position size of 10,000, you'd be kind of out of luck, or 100,000 or 50,000, this thing couldn't accommodate it for nuts. Now, what does that mean? You would overwhelm the order book. Now, if you overwhelm the order book, and you will have this problem as a top 1%, you're going to find that that volatility and slippage will just decimate your profitability. Now, what is the way around this? And it's very important that you know how to fix this. You can go into whatever pair that you use. And FDUSD does actually have fees, but they make their fees through margin. So you can just hit the volume and see what the highest levels of volume are. And we can see it's Bitcoin, ETH, ZEC, Solana, XRP, BNB, Asta, Doge, Starknet, Tron, Zen, ADA, Sui, just for an example. So if we're picking Solana, now we can see a very different situation here. Let's go up to the highest level and see what the order book looks like. So we've got about $25 million worth of buy and $14 million worth of sell. Now, you would anticipate that this actually means that you can get in here and just write it up because there's so many buyers. Actually, it's the opposite. And this is why a lot of people just get caught. They are not the top 1%. What we can see here, and we learn this, is that this mound up here, the buyers are in control. They will force the sellers down because the buyers are not moving. If a seller wants to unload, they're going to have to go down the order book and meet the buyers. Now, all of this can turn around in a heartbeat, but you have to understand how to read the order book. It's very important. Now, why is it like that? Because the VIX has been spiking, and over literally a period of months, we've seen the crypto market come down. So people are very, very reluctant to get in. Now, where is the order book concentrated inside Solana? Around that 120 level. So when we look inside the order book here, you can see around that 120, and we can look at this structurally as well. So around here, they've got a lot of buyers expecting the price is going to go down to the 120 level and around the 130 as well. Now, with Nvidia coming out and releasing really good numbers, the AI play is back on. It's quite likely that the buyers will have to start chasing the sellers, and that will change the order book composition. There is really a lot to learn. As with everything that you're successful in, it's your knowledge that creates your results. Inside financial markets, you must have an elite level of knowledge, because literally only knowledge creates profit. The elite level that we have, we do our cheat sheet first and foremost. We must understand if risk is on or off and how things are changing. For example, we look through Nvidia's monthly structural model, but it's all dictated by the structure that we see on a daily basis. And structure comes from level 1 and level 2 standard certification. We also know that the market is here to stay, and with 27 odd million crypto projects, the long view forecast models have been diluted because there's so many projects out there all competing for money. The alt season definitely happened, but not as people anticipated. People will understand the top 100 is the place to be, especially if we see more negative price action in terms of the monthly structural models. Therefore, it's very important to know where the structure resides inside a price chart, because this directly, the daily structural model directly impacts the monthly structural model. For example, if Nvidia is coming down, it will show inside the daily structural model and be reflected in the monthly structural model. You get all the views of the monthly structural model in the video of the monthly service for every single price chart there. From gold to silver to copper to Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Bitcoin, Total, Solana, XRP, Doge, you name it. If it's in the cheat sheet, it is covered. And the thing to remember, the more structure you have, the more issues you're going to face in terms of if price is speeding up like this, it will cause the sellers to come in. These are not brick walls, they're gravitational areas. And actually what we saw after this price was a collapse of this particular area. So it's very important to know where your gaps are. CTKS structural gaps to the upside create a lot of positive volatility, and we saw literally 24 hours ago Bitcoin was at 90,000. It came up about 3.5–4%, and you remember that's where I said I was selling. We also saw the total was getting excited and Bitcoin was getting excited, but that didn't prove itself down, and price decayed down again, and now it's bouncing. It's an eagle market. And those dashed lines get created through level 1 standard certification. And inside level 2 standard certification, all the magic happens, including the paths. And you saw the path for Nvidia. All price moves structurally. And we even have a rule for it. 268. CTKS structure determines price waves. So as we saw with Nvidia, it got caught by all the structural support and it's been flatlining. Now, we would anticipate Nvidia coming up on the result of very good report. It's beat consensus. That is the story. We have to watch structure because we don't do stories. We just focus on reality. So when we know where the price waves can go, we just observe. At the start and end of every video, I give you a lot of insight into what the market is actually doing. And we know inside Bitcoin that around that 93,200 level is a very important level of structure. We're actually in a negative CTKS gap at the current time. The next real level of structure is 87,300. So why is the crypto market getting propped up? Profiting Masterclass students already know the reason. It's total crypto market cap. Total crypto market cap and Bitcoin have to be read structurally together. I outlined this process in the Profiting Masterclass. Now we've seen the crypto market backing off. Why? Because of this structure up around that $3.05 trillion level. With Nvidia's really great results, what we need to keep our eye on is this 3.04 trillion level on structure. If we underside retest that, we could have more negative downside volatility, but we'll be looking at the VIX futures, the Aussie dollar, the Euro dollar, all of the row 1 and row 2. There's a lot happening inside financial markets, and not one reason for the VIX to be spiking either up or down. That's why we must embrace reality, and the reality is embraced when you look at structure. If you've got to this part of the video, you're the top 1% of the top 1%, and you are awesome. Please drop a comment, something to do with CTKS structure, so I'll know that you got here. Well done. And where do you think price will go in the next 24 hours?
The CTKS creed, daily positive affirmations for abundance, financial success, and happiness, yeah. I know the universe integrity and gratitude. I know opportunities and life resets daily. Start small and scale with BORSOG. Life pullbacks give me strength for the next life rally. I am dedicated and committed. I win or learn and never blame. I can be more of a financial blessing to myself and those I love. And those I love.
If you found a new knowledge gem or learnt something new, please share it in the comments. We are a community of abundance, not scarcity. If you're new, we would love for you to become part of our global family. All you need to do is smash like, subscribe, press the notification bell, and comment on what time it is now. Doing this shows that you are committed to forging a better life for yourself and the ones that you love. With financial literacy, you can become recession-proof. Trading and investing are lifelong professions. Tourists visit during bull markets only to get wiped out, but professionals stay no matter the market conditions because they know that making just 3% per week is a 365% return per year. We are the elite 1% in financial markets. You will create security and financial freedom in direct proportion to your willingness to learn and grow, and never blame. If you commit, your world will improve immediately. If you're going through a life pullback, our love and healing thoughts are with you. The sun will come out again. There is always hope. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Show gratitude and happiness, and you'll already feel richer today, and today is all we ever really have. Kate and I very much look forward to joining you again in the next video.